What is up, y'all? What happened to the trucking guy? We're gonna get into it. Meaning to make this video. Do I not make this video? Do I make this video? And I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep it real. So here we are. Why am I driving? What am I doing? What's next, right? Why am I not in the office? It's been a crazy time with the economy and stuff. Everybody that I know pretty well went bankrupt in trucking. They're no longer driving. They're not in it anymore, a lot of them. Or if they are, they're kind of, leased on to somebody. A lot of guys lost their authorities. In fact, most of the guys online that are YouTubers and things like that lost their authorities for a number of reasons. Some of them, they got audited, went into a conditional safety status on their safety rating for whatever maintenance violations, hours of service violations, alcohol and drug violations, whatever it is, right? They went into conditional. A lot of times when you go into conditional, most people don't survive it as far as their business or their company's concerned. So that happened to a lot of guys, us being one of them and one of my authorities, right? But let's talk about what really happened. Everybody think, well, the economy took him out, whatever, same as everybody else. Really, I made it through and came in the Obama days, 15. We made it through Trump, 16 and all that. We made it through Biden, almost to the end of it. And made a lot of money, did really good. We went from, started out in hot shot, went into, semis and flatbeds and driving reefer a little bit, went into heavy haul, did some RGN stuff, and kind of diversified a little bit. So what happened and why am I truck driving? The first thing that happened, Moneypenny, okay, because I had two companies. The first thing that happened, Progressive dropped us, right? I was with them for many years, and the reason why I stayed with them is because they're the only company that'll allow you to hire drivers from all over the country with different types of equipment. They're one of the only insurance companies that will allow you to have hot shots and semis on the same policy and things like that. And they're direct bill, so you don't have to worry about adding and removing a unit and paying 3 to 4 months for that unit if that unit quits or whatever. In my business model, primarily owner-operators. So I would lease people on. So if the insurance doesn't get paid, you're left handed it, or that guy quits, or you fire that guy. If you don't have a replacement for that guy, you have to keep paying the insurance with other companies. With Progressive, you can just call up and say, hey, that guy quit, that guy was fired, that guy terminated, that guy's taking time off because his truck's down for 3 months, or he's going family emergency for 4 months, whatever. And that's the way you can run a small fleet, right? When you get into only doing semi trucks and not hot shots and other things like that, there's many other options out there. There's schedule policies, there's revenue policies. Anyway, I had a guy on with me for 4 or 5 years. Great guy. Started with hot shot, went to 2 hot shots, worked his way up to 2 semis, ended up getting one of the semis into an RGN, all on his own. And he had another driver in a truck, bought another semi, got out of the hot shots. We had the semis and the hot shots running at the same time, and then he just finally parked the hot shots because the semis were doing better, and he wanted to focus on that. Had a driver in a truck. He was renting a trailer from us, and the driver quit, or he fired him, or something happened with the driver that he had, and the truck and trailer sat at his location in Georgia. I'm in Florida, where our yard was at the location in Georgia for like 2 months. He couldn't get a driver. He tried, and he said, hey man, I'm gonna take that thing off the insurance, whatever. Okay, cool, I'm gonna park it. And then he was renting the trailer from me. Finally I said, hey man, I gotta get this trailer back. I gotta get it back out on the road, get it rented, right? He said, okay, I'll bring it back, right? So I'm assuming, now mind you, he has 2 trucks. One we took off the insurance because it wasn't running, right? It was parked, and he still has his truck pulling RGN that he drives, right? I'm thinking he's gonna bring that trailer back with his truck. We didn't really talk about it. It was just kind of slipped through the cracks, but he brought it back with his other truck that wasn't on the insurance. Now he took the logos off, took the IFTA off, took the license plate off, all that stuff, right? And he drops the trailer off, or he's about to pull in to drop the trailer off in my yard in Florida. And he had no load. We're not unethical. We don't do that kind of thing, right? We're not going to run illegal and all that kind of stuff. But he's going to pull in to drop the trailer off at my yard, and there's a light, and he's got to turn in there. And somebody got impatient and drove around him, right? And when they came off the grass and came back around us, he didn't see him coming from behind him around the grass. He's turning like this, so he goes out a little bit to turn back into the yard, and they clipped his bumper and scratched his truck all to shit. Or ripped the bumper forward, broke it, snapped it, scratched their car all to shit. I come out because it's where I live. He told me about it. I come out, the cops are out there, and clearly it was their fault. But Florida's a no-fault state, so it doesn't matter who hits who. What happens is both of it gets labeled as a no fault on the report, right? So anyway, we put the trailer in there, drop it off. He goes on about his business back to Georgia to drop his truck off at his house or wherever he keeps it and get in his other truck and go back to work, which he did. Progressive then contacts us saying that, you know, as we told them, hey, you know, it was basically your fault. We're not claiming it on our insurance. So they made a claim saying that we hit them. It created a, you know, dispute, right? Insurance company reaches out. They did an investigation, found out that that unit wasn't insured at the time, and was like, hey, this, that, whatever, we're going to drop you because you're running unscheduled units. I said, we weren't running unscheduled units. I had all the evidence, all the correlating text messages between us. I had all of the driver quit. I had phone number to the driver. I submitted everything in my power that we had to prove to them that we're legal, moral, ethical. And I was like, dude, we've been with you guys for like 8 years. Why would we start doing that now? And if that was the case, you would have caught us doing something within 8 years. Like, you just, you know, companies that do that kind of stuff get caught. They don't continue to run for 8-9 years, right? So that was flag number one. They dropped us. At the time, I had 22 trucks under that authority. Over half of them were hot shots, okay? We went to the market. We could not get insurance anywhere for our group of drivers that had licenses from all over the country. We had guys from Georgia, guys from Ohio, guys from, you know, Montana, guys from wherever, right? That had been, some of them had been working for us a long time. Everybody that was on that company at that time was a year or more, had been there. Some of them, I had some guys from Florida, Georgia, Texas that had been with me 3, 4, 5, 6 years. One of my guys, Tony, was with me at the time, and this kind of going downhill is what led him to go get his own authority and branch out and do his own thing. He also worked his way up from a hot shot to an RGN, which was awesome. So we were all doing really, really well. This was, you know, we might have come into hard times, whatever, in Biden economics. We didn't really know that yet, but we're doing good. It was either end of 22 or beginning of 23. So they drop us, we go to the market, can't get insurance. Okay, we got to drop some of these outer region guys because they wanted us to be like, everybody had to be in the, you know, this part of the United States, as well as no hot shots. So at that point I was forced and had no choice to downsize my fleet to, I think, like 9 or 10 trucks, because we had to lay all the hot shots off. I couldn't insure them. I tried. I went everywhere that I could go, couldn't get insurance for any of them. There was 2 guys in semis. One of them, he had a speeding ticket. They wouldn't let him come aboard. One other guy, his truck was too old. It was like a 1997. They wouldn't let him come on board. So we took the 9 trucks or whatever it was and went to Knight Swift is who we went with. Okay, they would insure us. We did have a safety score that was moderately high. It was like 22%. The national average was like 22%. So it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Okay, so we went with that option. Downsized our business to almost 50%. You know, that year we were projected with just shy of $6 million. Okay, gross. So now we're down. You cut that company in half. You know, 9 trucks in that company, another 25 or so in the other company. And we had to do that because with insurance you can't get any bigger, right? If you go with a different insurance company, unless they're all semis, they're all regional, you have dedicated customers, regional customers, something like that. But if you're doing OTR, you're doing low boards like we were doing, insurance companies will not insure you, right? With a mixed fleet, with load board style business, you can't get any bigger, right? So you have to have all semis, newer equipment, the same kind of equipment, similar equipment with customers in region.